Alright guys, welcome back to the Golden Gift Qualifier. We've got Kimo's run here, so we've got his game number 1 here against Tassakly, with Kimo in the red trunks, south side as Ra, an Egyptian god, and Tassakly, another Egyptian pick, with Set on the top side as the blue trunks. Now early on there already is a difference how Ra player scouting with the Pharaoh, because he can empower back at home with the Priest. Our Set player can look at trying to steal some of these huntables from his opponent's side of the map. In fact, Tassakly even going to lame using his starting Set animal. So Tassakly gets his first conversion off. Trying to get his cows that he found earlier back with the hyena, but Pharaoh will be able to blow him up really quickly. Now these are a little bit tankier, but at the same time I think Tassakly's probably just going to want to use them as a food source. Now that was economically very big brain, just deleting it rather than having the villagers waste time going through the attack animation. So Flagstone of Buin might be too useful early on for Kimo, but at the same time can come back to be very useful later on. Canopic Jar, that can be quite useful. Cavalry Speed Horseshoes. A faster sample, so cheap armory improvements, that'd be a really nice one to snatch. Tassakly deleting that a little bit early there. At the same time, might be able to start scouting or empowering his gold mine with his Pharaoh, while Kimo empowering with his Pharaoh once he's done his initial scouting run. He's found the herdable count he really wanted, so for now he's just going to empower gold. Oh, power food actually. Empowering gold with his Ra Priest. Realistically, if you only had one to empower with, he'd be empowering food, because there's just so much more on it. So there's one thing to remember, if you are sort of on the 2 resources and you've only got one empower source because you're not playing Ra, or, you know, because you've got your Pharaoh out scouting, you're always best off empowering whichever's got the largest clump of villagers on it. I mean, I know it sounds like a real noob tip, real basic, but, you know, it is something at times people lower down tend to forget. So Tar here for Tassakly, so he'll be able to get a cheaper farms tech, I'm sure. So he can go for Shadoof. Kimo's still an arcade cage, hasn't aged just yet. In fact, it'll be Kimo that's probably looking to take and age up tech, because he's going to go to Tar, so he'll probably look at getting Shadoof for the cheaper farms as soon as he gets the town center finished. While Tassakly, he's going to have a quicker second town center time, but at the same time, he's also going to need to delay his farm eco, or he's not really going to reap the benefit of the cheaper gold that Shadoof is going to allow, because right now he's still got to get a monument up, get to 10 favor. Kimo's already there, so as soon as he ages, he'll be able to take Shadoof. So even though this is a slower second town center time, it's arguably way, you know, more efficient, and it's definitely way more greedy because it is later, but yeah, Kimo instant Shadoof as soon as this finishes. He'll be looking to stake his second town center now, but as soon as that finishes, he'll probably get all the way up to 15 to 17 farms, and the tech will basically have paid for itself, and then some by then. And then for the rest of the game, you'll no doubt have cheaper farms. While Tassakly, gonna go for armory, you're gonna have to do a bit more actual hunting for the moment. Kimo still has those chickens later on. So I mean, once he's on 2 TC farm eco, he can always take this prior to getting on his 3rd TC farming eco rolling. Because it does look like he's getting a shitload of gold there, and at the same time that's really just probably to pay for these farms. So it's not going to be able to get a 3rd town center yet. Neither's Tassakly for the minute, who looks to be going straight towards Heroic Age, not getting any armory techs just yet. Just barreling towards that age up, get those Migdol stronghold units on the field, and obviously get the strongholds himself for the, you know, area control that they'll allow. But Kimo, so taking Tar, taking Shadoof, taking his second town center, popping Rain. Well, I would have thought he'd taken a couple more farms before doing this. But this way, I think he realizes that Tassakly won't have the same farm count as him, having gone, you know, for second TC. So I guess, in a way, even though he's not fully maximizing this in the sense of having... Well, he's up to 17 farms already. That's pretty good. I tend to underestimate how many farms this actually is, you know, having played mainly AoE and AoE 2, because I think you get like 8 around the town center rather than 12. So he's up to 17. That's not too bad, actually. That's actually a reasonable count. The big thing is that it's not actually benefiting Tassakly at all. And even though Rain's normally, it does empower the movement speed more, or for, I mean, the gather speed more for the person using it than everyone else. It does actually boost everyone else's gather speed slightly. So the big thing was there that not only was it on 17 farms for Kimo, it was on none for Tassakly, so ended up being perfect. I sort of underestimated. I thought he only had 13 or 14 farms in total, but he got all 17 out sort of by the time, you know, Rain had been going for only about 10 seconds. So nice. And yeah, now Tassakly's going to start his farm transition. And he's going to start getting some Rax techs. He hasn't yet managed to go to Heroic Age. In the meantime, Kimo, even though he's gone for the later armory, a smoother transition into Heroic Age here. Even though his opponent already fielding a little bit of feudal tech. Classical Age tech. His opponent's now in Heroic, so Kimo can look at scanning with the rocks or rock dropping. Taking that quicker Migdol stronghold. And really enabling an easy third town center. So he's really just scouting this with this and sacrificing for the pop, I guess. Tassakly. It's an easy kill there, but definitely planned there by Kimo, so this Warlock's not finished up, but we get to that soon. Tassakly going on the gold over here, so right now Tassakly doesn't look to be in a bad space, but at the same time Kimo's just played that much more efficiently with his greed and his teching. Tassakly, you know, invested in this classical age army, but he's sort of hit at a time when he could have gone for a fast heroic, which Kimo's done behind a greedier second town center. So now Kimo really has to do is just play it safe for a little bit. Try not to engage this main army too much. Might just be a big pest to Tassakly, because now he'll be able to take a quicker Mythical Age by the look of it, because he's setting up the double walls there for his market line. That'll be really safe. Ferry that all the way back to his second town center for a really efficient market line. Tassakly can look at doing the same thing over this side. The placement's not really as good. He'd have to do it up this side. Probably even chop through here. Take that town center. Or he could run from here down to the central town center. Just trying to think of their best market lines, you know? I mean, this is the right comp for Tassakly to have in this position, but the fact that he's, you know, fighting with the units an age down, I just never like comps like this unless you're able to hit really hard and start taking out economy. And start getting ahead on economy through playing, you know, through the aggression. Right now, Tassakly's really just managed to engage in a skirmish that I think Kimo's really wanted and preempted here, so Kimo's kind of the faster third town center. Tassakly should be safe to get on his third town center, but at the same time, again, just ever since, you know, Tassakly going for the quicker second town center and not making use of Shaduf, I think that sort of hurt him. Does he have it now? Yeah, he has it now. So I mean, it seems to definitely be worth it to squeeze in the monument if you can. Go for that town center. Probably healing there for Kimo as well. I mean, for Tassakly as well. So every time he disengages from Kimo, he's getting ahead in terms of what's on the field's health, because all these guys are starting to really get quite low. But at the same time, individual units being singled out by Kimo, he knows he can also just get kills, disengage. He can actually start dealing a bit more damage to the base because he's got these Patsukos. So these guys are like a pseudo siege myth unit. So rather than necessarily having to wait for masses of elephants, which you might not want to spend the population on, or, you know, siege as well, you can go for these guys, which are a handy backline sniper myth unit, which makes it really hard to engage into them. To try and get, you know, heroes, particularly Egyptian ones, on top of them. Well, I suppose that, you know, the other civs, they've got like melee heroes, but they are tankier or and whatnot, so it might be easier trying to get to the Patsukos. And yeah, so Kimo fighting 3 town centers to 2 against Tassakly, so he's going to hit villager cap a lot quicker. He'll be able to slowly start his caravan production here as well. Tassakly sort of stuck in classical age now, just trying to get the resources for heroic. And I mean, he's got a huge wood bank, so unless he's planning on getting a shit load of siege, that's a pretty nice use of shifting sands there, sniping sniping a lot of the front line of the army. And one of the Petsukos. So Tassakly can start to creep forward. He's got a bit more army on the field now, so that was really nice from him. But again, he's got this huge wood bank. Not quite the amount of food I think he needs here just to get to heroic.
Gary. And which?
He's planning on absolutely spamming slingers. Here we go. Tassakly still needing about 100 food to hit heroic Age of Kimo. Just needing about 600 or 700 to get to mythic, so Tassakly be eager to try and this heroic, and now getting the fighters. Kimo having gone for Hathor. I should have known that. The Petsukos Ra combo.
Into you.
Pretty much just mass slinger now. In fact, the priest is pretty much being sniped by everything there. Because now the Petsukos can actually tank quite cost effectively into mass slinger alone. Like both them and the chariots are focusing down the priests. Petsukos obviously have better damage against the human units, but at least once their counter is off the field, they can just go nuts. And now Tassakly really waiting for heroic Age or Kimo taking mythic, and giving one of his siege works a little too greedy there. But he's got some more on the a barracks and a siege works there. Tassakly using a lot of slingers here. Chariots not normally the most cost-effective trade into the slingers, but bearing in mind they're worth an awful lot more than the slingers, so with this many of them on the field, there's a lot more army here for Kimo. But Tassakly now the fighter, so able to use Ancestor's God Power. Horus still coming in hot for Kimo, so he'll be able to access Tornado and Avengers, and does actually get all these handy infantry line upgrades, so he can possibly transition back to making use of infantry, as well as even have an upgrade advantage over Tassakly once again if he chooses. So we've got heavy chariots against the medium slingers, so they're already fighting slightly uphill in terms of the upgrades.
Into you.
The set animals as well, just a handy tank front line here for our set player.
Gary.
Our player backing off for the moment, but his mythic age transition will be hitting soon. So he can start fielding some siege as well, so he's already lost one siege tower, but he can probably get a handful of spearmen to protect the catapult over here and just look at taking out all of this over here for Tassakly. Ancestor's God Power still ticking down, even though they've all been long wiped out. He can afford to use mercenary cavalry at this point. Like, he's taken mythic, he's just going to start finishing off all the upgrades. He's going to need first taking chariot upgrade, and then looking at readying himself to put some infantry back in the mix, as well as maybe use some Avengers rather than Petsukos. He's going to actually use Tornado here, and Tassakly's in a position to both deal with this and go to mythic for the time being, so it's going to be a real uphill battle. We're going to need the slingers to focus on the chariots more so than the mercenary cav, but at the same time he needs to bring them down, because if he lets Kimo run them down time-wise, they're going to get a heap of kills here. It's really tough without any sort of front line here for Tassakly, and he's also going to go for Horus. Again, a real uphill battle for him. Town Center just making it through the tornado, but it's going to take a repair, which costs roughly half the resources it costs to build it, to actually get it through that. Although I think that only costs wood and gold. I don't think it actually costs food. Oh no, it might. I don't think it costs gold and food in Egyptian's case. But yeah, I think it only costs roughly half or 2/3 of the actual full value. So it's always repairing in Age games rather than letting it die and having to rebuild it. In terms of the resource amount. In terms of the actual repair amount, it might differ from game to game in terms of whether or not it's really worth it. But Tassakly's managed to actually clean up this little side build attempt over here by Kimo, but meanwhile, he has sent some mercenaries around. I'm pretty sure you can only build those from the town center. I think you can build them from the barracks. Yeah, Tassakly having a garrison or evacuate villages here. Well, actually, no, they've pretty much all been picked off, I think. So this is looking really rough for him because he's now not got very many villages or army units to really defend here, repair this town centre. But Sukos, catapult combo will really be able to take that out very quickly, as well as any repairers with Sukos. Chariot. Tassakly going to clean up that little side base, but he is taking a beating. He's going to rely on his tornado to clean up most of Kimo's army here. So we get him back in the game. Our player's basically out of god powers now, other than Kimo's shifting sands, which he might still be able to make use of. If he walls in somewhere and then shifting sands a bunch of Tassakly's villages, and pretty much end the game. Actually, there we go. Tassakly deciding enough is enough. Kimo's beaten him up enough in game number 1.